Oh, hello! I didn't see you there! I was too busy playing Mother Frickin' Bravely Default. It's been out for like a week now, and I've been trying to make a review of it, but I cannot stop playing it because it's really freaking fun. So, I guess I did make a review on it. It's right here. You can watch it right now. Okay. Bravely Default, despite its seemingly weird title, is an awesome RPG from Square, the makers of the Final Fantasy series. And while this game may not have Final Fantasy in the title, it's a Final Fantasy game through and through. It's got the same monsters, spells, items, and game mechanics, so yeah. But whether or not you're into Final Fantasy, this is what an RPG looks like when it's done right. The game opens with a lovable little fairy coaxing the player into going on this game's perilous quest with her undeniable level of adorableness. Right after that, you gotta do this crazy AR cinematic, which was pretty cool, although I'm not exactly sure what the point of the AR was. Right after that, you get to watch the game's opening cinematic, which I must admit is really badass. At that point, you either have to assume that you're in for a really awesome game or Square just blew all their cash on the first 5 minutes and the rest is garbage. Thankfully, that was not the case. This whole beginning sequence establishes a standard for the visuals and music that both remain top-notch once the game begins. And I apologize if the footage doesn't look super impressive. You'll have to trust me that on the 3DS, the visuals in this game are drool-worthy. Now, a warning for those of you that don't like games with a lot of story and dialogue. This game has a lot of story and dialogue. The voice acting can be a little cheesy at times, but so much of the dialogue is voiced that you don't even have to read a terribly large amount. The world itself, specifically the towns, just look awesome. The 3D effect is used throughout 100% of the game, and it looks great the whole time. I did notice a little bit of frame rate loss at a few points, but it's not too bad. The game will even do this cool thing where if you stand still for a few seconds wherever you are, the camera will zoom out and show you the whole setting, and it all looks really impressive. Part of the reason for this is that the visuals seem to mostly be drawn rather than made of 3D models, and it gives the game this really charming and unique look. Guess what other Square game had hand-drawn environments? Final Fantasy VII, the best one. So that's all well and good. The game looks and sounds awesome, but how's the gameplay? Bravely Default doesn't break down any barriers as far as the classic Final Fantasy formula goes. You've got your towns scattered throughout a huge overworld that can be reached through various forms of transportation that gradually get unlocked. Of course, you start out on foot, and it kind of looks like you're a raging titan stomping through the countryside. Anyway, there are also caves and dungeons filled with treasures and bosses and all the random encounters you can tolerate. Where this game really starts to get interesting is in the combat. Not only does it shed some light on why this game is called Bravely Default, it's one of the more clever combat systems out there, and the further you get into the game, the more impressive it really is. So along with the usual health and mana, there's another resource you use in battle called Battle Points, or BP. Normally, you start the battle with 0 BP, and any action you take, such as attacking, casting a spell, using a special ability, using an item, etc., will consume 1 BP. Then, at the beginning of the turn, you get that BP back, and you can do another action. Sounds like any old RPG, but that's where the Brave and Default commands come in. Choosing Default makes that character guard for that turn without actually spending any BP, so at the beginning of the next turn you'll have an extra BP, the maximum being 3. Once you've stored up some BP, you can use the Brave command to take multiple actions in the same turn, up to 4 at a time. Unlike most RPGs that have a guard command that no one ever uses because it's better to just do something than get smacked for 1 turn for slightly less damage, the default command actually makes biding your time beneficial. Not only that, but you can put yourself at negative BP if you use Brave more times than you can afford. If you do, the character spends the turns they're in the negative recovering. Considering you have 4 party members that can all have different jobs and abilities, it makes for a lot of options, and I'm going to tell you about the job system in a second here because it's friggin' cool. But basically, the Brave and Default system makes it so you almost always have some option for getting out of a bad situation. Let's say a boss just unloaded a terrible combo on you and left a team member dead and the rest injured. You could have your fastest party member revive the dead one, your next party member attack the boss, and your last party member top off everyone's HP with 2 heals using the Brave command. You can start the battle by putting one of your mages in the negative to shield everyone in the same turn. When you have the upper hand and you've stored a lot of BP, you can have your heavy hitters attack 4 times in 1 turn and really drop the hammer on your enemy. It's really fun to spend a few minutes planning out how you want your turn to go, and when you see it all unfold exactly how you planned, it's just really satisfying. The possibilities are almost without limit, and it's thanks to this system combined with the game's extremely fun job system, which we're going to talk about right now. Being able to change your party members' jobs is nothing new to the Final Fantasy series, or even RPGs in general. That being said, Bravely Default pulls it off quite well, and the whole process keeps you wanting more. All your party members start out as the freelancer job, which is kind of an all-around fighter with no real strengths or weaknesses. As you defeat bosses in the earlier portion of the game, you obtain their asterisk, which is what unlocks that job for your party members. At that point, any of your party members can switch to that job anytime outside of combat. Not only do your characters level up as usual, but their job level goes up as well. And if that character switches jobs down the road, they're able to keep some of the abilities they learned in a previous job. So it's kind of like you're creating your own custom classes. This system makes you incredibly motivated to track down all the jobs in the game so you can experiment with all the awesome combinations. The way the combat, job system, abilities, and equipment options all come together is insanely fun to micromanage. At least for me it is. I don't think that sort of depth is for everyone, but if it sounds fun to you, chances are it probably will be. So that's it for the core aspects of the game and what makes it stand out, but that's not even all there is to it. There's also multiplayer aspects that function off of Street Pass and your 3DS friend codes, along with this whole side project of rebuilding a town using your friends to complete jobs. I would say more about it, but honestly it gets pretty complex, and learning everything about this game is best done on your own very gradually. I'll just say that it's all really interesting, and it definitely keeps you busy. Personally, I really love Bravely Default, and I would recommend it to anyone that enjoys the classic Final Fantasy games or RPGs in general. The only thing I'm not crazy about is the sometimes corny dialogue, but maybe I'm just picky. Everything else is done very well, and I can tell there was a lot of thought and care put into it, and that's what matters to me when I play a game. I don't like to do the whole rating thing, but I'd give Bravely Default an 8.5 out of 10? Sound good? Cool. Thanks for watching, you guys! I hope you enjoyed my video on Bravely Default. So be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you hadn't, or I'll kill you! Right, Scooter, when I kill them? Hey, where you going? Where you going? Where you going, man? Hey, tell the people, I'll kill them. Tell them. See, he told you in rat speak. But you don't speak rat, so you just have to take my word for it. Okay, bye!